is marriage even worth it?
Well, you know, I'm a happily married woman, and I say absolutely. I just think, you know, it's the pendulum is swinging. I think people, you know, back in the day saw a lot of couples who stayed together weren't happy about their personal life, about their married life, and so now people are trying to figure out, well, maybe marriage isn't the answer. And I think, you know, the pendulum will swing again, and it'll stabilize. So yeah, absolutely, it is absolutely worth it.
You think so? What do you think about it, Yolanda?
I think people are terrified of marriage because of the high divorce rates, but that's also another reason why people are committed in committed relationships for so many years now before they decide to get married.
That decision,
yeah, I mean that's a long time. Like people stay together for like 10 years or so.
Well, Yolanda, you're a married woman. What do you think?
What?
Well, I think that people give up on marriage too easily. I also
agree.
think that people think marriage is like the movies and television, that when it fades to black, everything is perfect. But marriage is a lot of work. There's a lot of give and there's a lot of take. And some people are not willing to give and take. And people don't understand that it takes a lot to be married. You're living with someone day in and day out.
And you have to learn their habits. Everybody's habits different, and you kind of have to work with your flaws as well as theirs.
You have to put your ego aside, and that is too hard for a lot of people to do. But it was funny, you know, I had a friend who got married last year on 9/10/11 was her wedding date. But, you know, I was talking to her, and I started talking to her about, well, you know, the secret to a married life, happy marriage, is learning how to fight right. And she was like, I don't want to hear it. You know, I'm in my honeymoon phase. Like, I don't want to hear about fighting.
But you have to be realistic.
But you have to be realistic.
But you know what else? The secret to a happy marriage may also be prenuptial agreements. So also, you know, on that same topic, what about being divorced and broke? Like, what happens then?
I'm against prenuptial agreements.
I
feel like,
I'm so for them.
no.
Like,
I'm
why bother?
against
Why
that.
bother?
Yeah.
I'm only against it if I'm broke. If he has the money, then I'm
that's
against
how I feel about it
But
too.
if it's my money, I'm all for it.
Exactly.
Let the bum make his own way.
It's true, but it really is. It goes against the whole system. Like, why do you bother with getting married?
Because it's realistic. I mean, realistically, sometimes you do make a mistake.
Absolutely.
And do you want to pay for that mistake for the rest of your life? Is the question you ask yourself when you decide not to sign
But
one.
if I am thinking about a prenuptial agreement, I am thinking it might not work out. And then if I'm thinking that, I'm thinking that maybe I really shouldn't go into this marriage.
Maybe you could just be a realist.
I can see Sunita's point of view. But the thing with marriage is that people got to realize it's more than the wedding. And when people get past the wedding, they put so much into the wedding, and they don't realize that you need to come together. You need to communicate. Marriage is about communication. You need to talk about your finance. You need to talk about what you like. If you're having a good day, bad day. And sometimes when that person's having a bad day, you need to just put your stuff aside and deal with that situation. A lot of people don't know how to communicate with each other.
And that's true. A lot of people have $1 million marriage and a $2 million wedding, $2 marriage.
And realistically, a lot of couples, especially if they're not engaged or married, they don't talk about finances.
That's
and they
true.
don't talk about
well, a lot of, especially women, because we are kind of breeded like little puppies from day one. We, you know, they get married, you got the baby dolls and the magazines and everything. And we really don't really think about the marriage, and there's a lot that goes into it.
So do you think that we need more realistic Hollywood movies and to stop pressuring our daughters to
I don't think that would sell. I think people just need to be more realistic.
For real life.
But that's the problem. We just mentioned that. That a lot of people have that false idea of what marriage is.
You look to Hollywood when you blame marriages. Oh, people think it's a fairy tale marriage,
do.
and it's not. So let's have some
they
real
keep looking to
examples.
Hollywood.
And I will say one movie I saw that was really good. They billed it as a comedy, but that breakup movie with Jennifer Aniston and
the breakup.
That was a good movie.
And it ended pretty realistically.
Well, because yeah, won't give the ending if you want to watch it, but. You know, it was very realistic. That like you're saying, you should like that movie because it's all about.
I did like the movie. I don't want to comment on why it wasn't successful. Whatever.
But I mean, like, what are your opinions on that? Like, what happens when you do end up divorced and broke? Should you blame yourself? I mean, you know.
Well, okay. From our research in that article that we read about this divorce and broke, I had the biggest problem. You paying $7,500 a month for rent. Sister, if you would have just bought a home, 2 or 3 homes with all those years you were together,
you would have had one.
You could have sold it. You wouldn't. That's the part I couldn't get past.
And then waiting until your savings is done, then realizing, oh, maybe I need to make a different decision. No, you got to plan ahead.
I couldn't feel sorry for her at all because she did. She waited till exactly she had nothing left. She stayed in there.
So the key to a happy divorce is basically a prenuptial agreement.
No.
I'm kidding. And to be realistic, I think that people should actually have their own. Be independent. Even if you're married, you should be independent. You know, have a job, have some savings, and prepare for the worst
about
even
your
if
finances.
you know you're expecting the best.
Yeah.
I think that one problem that a lot of marriages are having is that people are having their expectations are way too high. that couple living way beyond their means.
Definitely.
You know, start small, work your way up, and then you don't always have to have the grand. Even if you have it, it doesn't have to be the grand house. The children, they don't have to be involved in everything. Just get out as a couple, go to the park, hang out with your kids, and throw a Frisbee around.
Yes.
Simple things in life make a marriage work.
And I agree. So that was a great topic. Up next, Real Conversation.